There was a small town situated at the edge of a dense forest. The forest was notoriously dangerous, with rumors of it being home to strange creatures and supernatural beings. Despite the warnings, some residents of the town continued to venture into the forest, lured by its mystery. One such person was a young woman named Sarah, who had always been fascinated by the unknown. One day, Sarah decided to go on a hike in the forest. She packed a few supplies, bid farewell to her family and friends, and set off on her adventure. As she walked deeper into the woods, she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being watched. Every rustle of leaves or snap of twigs made her heart race. The darkness was closing in, the tree branches seemed to transform into skeletal fingers raking the sky, and she covered a chill sweep over her. She tried to shake it to no avail, and walked further hesitatingly. As the hours passed, Sarah realized that she was lost. Trail had disappeared, and she had no sense of direction. Panic set in as she frantically searched for a way out, but all she found were more trees and bushes. The rustling became louder, and upon glancing back, she saw a pair of bright red eyes peeking through the darkness in the distance. Her heart was racing. Was it one of those legendary creatures that the forest had been hiding? She felt like running, but it seemed like her feet weren't cooperating with her at this point. She felt trapped. And so, she continued walking, hoping to find an exit. The rustling and the red eyes followed her movements. As she walked deeper into the woods, something sinister seemed to be closing in on her, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that she was being hunted. Just when Sarah thought she could take no more, she came across a clearing in the forest. At the center of the clearing was an old oak tree with a hollow trunk. Sarah was relieved to have found some sort of shelter, and she decided to spend the night there. She leaned against the trunk, and the hollow oak seemed to provide warm comfort. Yet, as she settled down, she realized that she was not alone. There were whispers coming from the trunk's cavities, and now, shivering uncontrollably, Sarah caught glimpses of creatures lurking around her. The whispers slowly became louder, and it was increasingly clear that it was the whispers of lost souls. Sarah watched in horror as shadowy figures crept out of the hollows and began circling her. They were ethereal, indiscernible beings, and yet, every time they touched her, it felt like 1,000 butterfingers skimming over her skin. Sarah had always been interested in the supernatural and otherworldly, but she had never imagined such a gruesome fate for herself. She felt like insects were crawling under her skin, and senses that she never knew she had started droning. Her vision blurred and her limbs went numb. She rushed out of the hollow hole, desperate to escape the supernatural realm, and before she knew it, she was running in the opposite direction, away from the hollow oak and the clearing, away from the creatures and the supernatural realm in the forest. But Sarah had not been the only one who had ventured into those woods. As she stumbled blindly in the darkness, she realized with a start that she could hear strange whispers behind her. Whispers that sounded awfully too familiar. When she turned around, her screams became silenced as she realized with horror that it wasn't shadows she had escaped away from. It was her own shadow, or better put, a doppelganger, identical down to the bottle of water that it was carrying.